Hi everyone, it's Allison. I'm in my violin studio, and today I'm going to do a practice clip for Go Tell Aunt Rhody in Book 1 of the Suzuki. So this piece is not horribly difficult. It's probably simpler than Song of the Wind, so it's a nice break, and usually everybody has fun with this. What we have in this piece mostly, this is a really good chance to improve, to work on the coordination between the left and the right hands, right? Because hopefully what you've been learning, and I'm just going to, hopefully you can see this, you start with a note, and then you stop, and in the stop bow you might have to do a bunch of stuff. In this case, not so much. We're just going to go back in the same direction. So next note. Now this time I'm stopped. I have to put the first finger and take off a second finger, and remember to go the bow in a new direction. Finger off. Okay, and sometimes we have, here we stop the bow, we got to go to the A string, left arm has to move, the third finger has to go down, and we have to remember, on top of all that, to take a new bow stroke in a new direction. Okay, so there's a lot of things that have to happen between bow strokes, and we have to teach our hands how to coordinate that. It won't happen by nature. By nature, what will happen is you're going to end up with something sounding like that. Not beautiful. So we have to, there's these minuscule little lines, little cracks between the notes, and it's like, if you could imagine going to the theater and the curtains just kind of close after one act, and just before they're even completely closed, they open again, and there's a whole new decor and a whole new set. Okay, so that's what we've got to do, and we want to do it so that people don't hear it, because that's not the beautiful part of violin. So start with a whole bow, and your teacher very likely may have put stickers on your bow so that you're not actually using the complete top and bottom. It gets pretty complicated playing in the corners. Sometimes with little kids we don't bother because the bows are so much smaller and the kid is so much smaller, the arm is smaller, so you may or may not have stickers. But when I say whole bow, I mean the part that your teacher told you to use, okay? So it's probably just the central part of your bow. And when I say half bow or short bow, it's half of that. So a short bow is from one end to the middle, or it could be the other end to the middle, depending where we are. I think in this piece it's always upper part to the middle. We'll see. So we start at the beginning, long note, and of course I teach everybody to do this with stop bows. And then eventually, once it's going really well and beautifully, then we take the stop bows out, and then the coordination is still pretty lined up, and then you can play a beautiful legato and it still sounds good. All right, so long, short, then tuck your first finger. Well, your teacher might have told you to put 1 and 2 to begin with. That's a good way to do it. It's also good if you put your second finger, and then you place the first finger before you let the second finger off, right? Because remember, your fingers only know where to go by measuring, and by measure I mean feeling the stretch from the next finger over. So don't look, because if you stare at your fingers, you'll never get to know what it feels like, right? So then you never really can play it with confidence and while not looking at your fingers. Sorry, I keep starting at the beginning again. Short, place the 1, let go of the 2, long note. Long note. This is pretty straightforward. First finger, second finger, back to 1, and all your fingers off. Good. Stop your bow, roll over to E, and to roll over to E, of course, you kind of let your upper arm just fall down. And there you are. Long note. Now to go to the A string, bring your arm back up. Okay, so first is the bow, the right arm. Second is the left arm. Now I know you're going to say, but I didn't play any fingers on the E string. How come I have to swing my arm to go back to the A? Well, probably your arm just kind of swung naturally, because whenever you're not doing something, it'll kind of go back to a neutral position. And even if it didn't move, it's good training to get your arm used to the fact that every time you go to a lower string, your elbow has to come in a little bit more, and your arm goes a little further up in the air. So you start with E string. E string is kind of just, you know, where nature and gravity would have your elbow hang. A string is a little bit in. See that the elbow comes in? And now notice that the arm is straight. Can I put that down? Okay, you've got a straight line here. I am not doing any wiggling that way. When my elbow comes in, the whole thing just moves like one chunk. All right. So Oh, I was showing you this. E string, A, D, and G. More or less. Depends how long your arms are, how big your violin is. But that's kind of where we aim in the end. So, we're the third bar of Go Tell Aunt Rhody. E string. Now, bow. Elbow comes in. And then, once your elbow has come in, then your fingers just magically are above that string, right? So, drop the 3. Now, don't take that third finger off. You'll be hooped. Tuck your second finger underneath, really, really snug underneath, no air between them. They're good friends and they don't mind getting snug. Once the second finger is snug up underneath, let go of your third. Now we need a first finger. This is not snug. This is exactly halfway between, there's the second finger and there's the nut. The first finger goes halfway. Okay? So place your first finger and then lift off the 2. If it doesn't sound in tune, don't go fishing around, because that is training your finger to think that it is acceptable. It is not acceptable. With experience, you will know exactly where to aim your finger. At the moment, it might be a little bit of a guess, but that's okay. You put it down, you hear what it sounds like. If it's beautiful, you say, ha, I got it. And if it's not quite beautiful, you say, I'll remember that for next time I need to stretch a little more one way or the other. Okay, but don't fix it. Oh, we're in stop bows. Da, 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 up bow. Okay, and you'll notice when you place the fingers, don't let this thumb get up high. That's really not helpful. The thumb does not grab the violin, and it can be difficult to get the thumb used to doing nothing. It's like having a highly trained, really strong person around it and asking them to do nothing. Well, everybody else works, and thumbs don't like that. But sometimes you can just take the thumb right off and kind of give the hand the experience of knowing that it doesn't need the thumb. So that when the thumb just sits here very quietly and try to not let it press. Because the fingers will press back and then everybody's in a gridlock. So, now all I do is pop back and then let it fall down again. No pressure needed. And then second. And when I say no pressure, I actually have not depressed the string. Hang on, can you see? I've not, well, you won't be able to see that. I have not depressed the string all the way to the fingerboard because it's not necessary. I just put my finger down. The skin of my finger, it kind of goes bloop on either side of the string. And that's enough. That's all we need. That's up. The more lightly your fingers go down, the more quickly and easily they come off. And that will help you play rhythmically and quickly eventually when we want to. Okay, second line. We start again on a second finger. Add 3 over to E. Long, first finger, long, slow. Short over to A. Now this is piano. How do you play piano? There's a lot of different things you can play with that will all contribute to more or less volume. But you might try the simpler ones, or perhaps a little bit less bow. More bow speed will give you a louder sound. And maybe don't lean into the string quite so much. I don't know if you'll have any real control developed yet, but if you do, you can choose to be a little bit lighter in the bow. And ultimately, don't worry about it too much, because as you work through your pieces, you will develop that ability, and when you come back and play this piece, it will just naturally happen. So, but try. So here's the piano one, same. Long and slow. Oh. Now on these, the end of the first line, the end of the second line, where you have that half note, which is, I'm calling it a long and slow bow, so that the note lasts long enough. We actually need to cheat a little bit, because we need to get to the note that follows. The note that follows needs to happen on time. And if I do this, what would be? 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and I'm going to have a mad scramble to get to the next note on time, and either there'll be a loud noise or the note will be late. If I was James Ennis, of course, I'd be able to do it. But I'm not, and neither are you. So we need to steal a little bit of time from the end of the previous note, which is the here. We're stealing a little bit. I stop that note just a wee bit shy, so that I have time to rock my arm over, left arm, drop my second finger. And now this note starts on time. Bum. Okay, I'm going to back up. I'm going to start at the piano. So this is bar 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of the piece. Long and slow bow. Did you see that? So that gives us a smooth... the break also serves to define that that was the end of a phrase. We wouldn't want to do that if it wasn't the end of a phrase, but that's why we're doing it here. We would arrange our bowings differently if we couldn't musically allow the break to happen. So third line is the same as the first line. So you know what? We're done. So as you can see, it's not a terribly difficult piece. Enjoy it. Have fun. Talk to you soon.